There are many kinds of whiskey and terms, like Scotch, Bourbon, single malt, blended, which is confusing for a lot of people. To explain the differences simple and fast, we can divide them into four main categories: Scotch, Irish, American, and the rest of the world. These four categories have a lot of different subtypes, of course. Scotch has the most complex definitions, thus we will only explain the most popular ones. Consider we have a distillery. If the company sells the whiskey produced from a single distillery, this bottle will be named as single malt. Surely there are some other important rules that they need to follow. Most important two of them are: only barley can be used as a grain. And for distillation, pot still type distillers must be used, which is an expensive distillation technique that adds extra characteristic tastes. These restrictions increase the production cost and makes the single malt whiskies more expensive. Apart from distilleries that produce single malt, you may also consider distilleries that use different kind of grains other than barley, like wheat, rye and corn. Instead of single pot still distillers, they use industrial continuous distillers, which works faster and can produce spirits with higher alcohol content, but compared to single pot distillers they lack of aroma and flavors. Now consider that the company uses more than one distiller's whiskey in one bottle. This bottle will be blended malt. With the same logic, if the company uses more than one distillery's grain whiskey, this will be named as blended grain whiskey. Grain whiskey or blended grain whiskey does not generally bottled and sold separately, but composes a very important part of the industry, because they are produced to be blended with malt whiskies, which gives us the most popular and highest selling whiskies, blended scotches. Many company blends grain whiskies that are cheap and easy to produce, with malt whiskies to reduce the cost of production, while they also keep the rich characteristic taste and flavor of the malt whiskies. Unlike shown here, they use tens of different distilleries' whiskey to compose these blends. This is a very special process and requires a great expertise. Many of the scotches in the market are blended Scotch. The concept of Irish whiskey is quite similar to the Scotch. There are two main differences between Irish and Scotch whiskey. First one is well known: Scotches are distilled twice while Irish distillates it 3 times. The second difference is Irish distillers use unmalted, green barley together with the malted barley during the fermentation. Whiskies produced this way is called single pot still whiskey. This is very similar to single malt Scotch whiskey. Same as Scotches, Irish also have grain whiskey and companies that blends grain and single pot together as blended Irish whiskey. Just like blends Scotches, many of the Irish whiskey in the market are blended Irish whiskies. American whiskey can be divided into 4 main categories. There is one very important factor for all of them. According to American law, only first fill barrels can be used for aging. That's why on American bottles you never see terms like sherry cask, wine cask, etc. Since they are not allowed to use for the second time, American producers sell their barrels to rest of the world. American whiskies are generally based on corn. Bourbon and Tennessee whiskey's barley content should be at least 51% corn. Tennessee whiskies are only produced in the state Tennessee, and they are filtered through maple charcoal chips before aging in the wooden barrels. This is a special process and used only in Tennessee whiskies. Many American distilleries also produce rye whiskey, which has at least 51% rye barley content. With spicy characteristic taste, rye whiskey is very popular for whiskey cocktails. All bourbons are corn-based, but there is also another type which has at least 81% corn barley content. Corn whiskey is not really popular and very few distilleries produce it in these days, so I'm not gonna confuse you with more details about it. Rest of the world whiskies are produced with the same principles of scotches. That's why we didn't separate Japanese and Indian whiskies with another category. Similarly, Canadian whiskey is mainly produced with American principles. If some content in this video is a bit confusing, you can check our first video, What is Whiskey?